doctor come to them, get in to see somebody. Celebrities and wealthy, super wealthy, tend to surround themselves with yes men, like the emperor's new clothes. So people who, if somebody says no to them, they're fired, and then they'll find somebody who'll say yes.
Well, this is the story of Rush Limbaugh and how he got into his addiction
like
situation.
Elvis. I mean, they get so many people, they find somebody who doesn't have the strength to say no, and they find people who will give them what they want, and then they go somewhere else, and especially if they travel a lot.
All right, let's good answers, Dr. Marks. Let's get to some callers, though. We've got Jared in North Carolina. You're on the air. Go ahead with a question for Dr. Marks, please.
Hey, guys. How are y'all today?
Doing good.
Hey, good, man. I was glad to be on InfoWars finally, but I've never really had a chance to speak to a doctor who I would maybe, think outside of, I guess, just the stereotypical system of, throw a pill at it. But my question is probably not in your field, but I've always had, since I was a kid, had all kind of crazy sinus issues. And I've seen doctors all over North Carolina. I've been to Duke, some of the best trained physicians of, their specialties. And I guess my question is not necessarily into preparedness for an economic collapse, but more along the lines of like chemical warfare on American people now, in our food and our water. I've had several doctors, I was saying, I've had all these kind of sinus issues my whole life, and nobody's ever been able to tell me what it was.
Well, let's do this, Jared. No, good question, but what we're going to run into here is everybody's going to call with their specific medical question for Dr. Marks, who's really focusing a narrow area. Let me broaden that question, if you don't mind, to say, for anybody, Dr. Marks, for anybody who's got a specific medical concern now that may be a mystery condition or a chronic condition, what is the strategy that they can go through to try to resolve that, ahead of the end of the world as we know it, or whatever scenario people might have in mind? Right. What's your advice?
I think to do is what this gentleman did makes sense. Is you go to the best you can, find the experts. Here's my problem, and see what they have to say. But and since in light of what you do in your world is their answers are going to come from their training. It's standard Western medicine. Here's the problem. I'm going to treat you. Here, you have something physically wrong. We can do surgery. Here's some medications. Tell me if you're better. He may have some weird allergies. Maybe he needs to see some allergists and get that checked out. It may be that what you have to do is seek out some doctors who've got a lot of mixed training. So on one hand are the naturopaths, alternative medicine people, and that's all they do. The other extreme are the Western standard medicine doctors. That's my world. And then in the middle are the ones, the MDs, like the ones that Dr. Andrew Weil is based out of Tucson here. And people have done their medical training, and then they go and do additional fellowship training in integrative complementary medicine. And so if I were to go to see one of those guys and say, hey, here's my problem, then you're getting the best of everything. Then you're saying, okay, let's look and see what this is, but let's also look at this and let's consider that. To me, that seems to be the smartest solution for people.
That makes sense.
To find these doctors who really are straddling both sides of the fence, because if a bear's charging you and you've got a rifle with 2 rounds in it, you're not going to fire one and throw the rifle down. I think use everything you've got. And so use the best of everything to try to figure out what the problem is and then try some of the treatments.
Dr. Marks, we're about to wrap up this segment. I want to thank you for joining us. You've also published a couple of books on prostate cancer. You want to give those books out here? Give the name out?
Sure. It's 4th edition. It's called Prostate and Cancer, A Family Guide to Diagnosis, Treatment, and Survival. And it's a question and answer, kind of walk you from first thing all the way through on prostate cancer, prevention, diagnosis. There's a section in there on complementary and integrative medicine.
And your website on your surgery?
And the surgery is dadsagain.com for vasectomy reversals. Interestingly, I've had several men who wanted a reversal, and the sole reason was they wanted to restore their fertility for the kind of scenarios that you and your listeners talk about.
Ah, that's interesting. Okay, stay with us there. I want to ask you on the other side. We'll be right back on the other side of this break. Talking with Dr. Sheldon Marks. He's an expert in emergency medicine and survival medicine, you might say. Oh, we're over here. Okay, and he's still on the line with us to answer this last question about, well, he said right before the break that a lot of people are showing up and wanting to have vasectomy reversals to restore fertility in preparation for a collapse scenario or what might be happening ahead. Dr. Marks, you still on the line?
Yeah, I'm still here.
Can you give us more information about that? I mean, that people are doing that is interesting.
Yeah, usually most couples that come to us, it's to restore fertility after a divorce, a loss of a child, just a change of heart. But we've had a fair number of guys who came to us from around the country and actually internationally, and some of them are married, some of them are single. And we always say, what's the reason for wanting this vasectomy reversal? And several of them have said, I just want to have my fertility restored for just in case. I just think that's going to be a potential important thing, and I want to have that option on the table.
All right. Well, that's good to know. It's one way to fight back against Bill Gates and the globalists, have children instead of depopulating the planet, which is something that we cover here on InfoWars. Thanks for joining us today, Dr. Marks. It was good having you on.
My pleasure and honor.
All right. Well, take care. That was Dr. Sheldon Marks, everybody. Definitely an interesting guy. Which camera are we on here? Okay. Another thing I want to show you today, the guy who created these, they're called conspiracy cards, sent me a set, and I just thought they were so cool. I want to share them with you. I don't know if you can get a document shot, but these are cards that you can hand to people that explain each of the major conspiracies. Like here's one on fluoride that just breaks it down. You can hand it to somebody. Here, learn about fluoride. Here's one on food. Here's the depopulation agenda. Here's one on chemtrails, one on vaccines. Very, very cool information, just sort of bite-sized. You can share with somebody. Hey, if they don't already think you're nuts, hand them one of these and then let them start asking questions. But the truth is, you're not nuts. You're just informed. You see, now being informed puts you in a category of being crazy in our society because only disinformation is allowed to be considered reality out there, it seems like. Anyway, you can find these at conspiracycards.com. Very, very cool information. Now, in the couple minutes we have remaining, I would like to go ahead and take a couple of calls myself from those who've been waiting because I'd like to get to callers as much as possible. So if you're still there, John in Wisconsin, go ahead. You're on the air.
Hi, Mike. Thank you so much for taking my call, and I really have to give credit where credit is due on the topic of preparedness. I've been kind of stumping for preparedness issues on the Alex Jones show, and so I got to say thank you to Jaron and Mike Jacobson, whomever is making the decisions, Alex. And also, being from the dairy state, you, Mike, and Alex have huge, huge fans in the raw milk freedom movement and the food freedom movement. Max Kane is a farmer who's been under fire quite a bit from that judge, Justice Fiedler, who said that you have no inherent right to raise your own food on your own property.
No, it's pretty incredible. And there's a big announcement coming up next week. A week from today, we're going to have a guest on the show that has a big announcement about raw milk and some freedom events. So that is coming up. Go ahead.
You're such a great substitute. My girlfriend loves listening to you. I personally love listening to your YouTube video where you broke down the last book by what's his name, the astrophysicist. I'm blanking right now.
The physicist Stephen Hawking?
Yeah, sorry.
Oh, yeah. Mr. We have no soul, we have no consciousness. But no, look, I'm not a substitute for Alex. There is no substitute for Alex, but I'm just honored to fill in when I'm asked to do so, and I try to do my best. Any final comments? 10 seconds.
I have a question for you if you can do it on the other side.
Can we go into overdrive, guys? Let's do some overdrive. Yeah, stay on the line, man. But for those on the radio, thank you for joining us today. I really appreciate sharing this information with you. This is Mike Adams, the Health Ranger for the Alex Jones Show. Retransmission of the show begins now at prisonplanet.tv. Take care. All right, we're going into a few minutes of overdrive. Thanks for continuing with us here. This is Mike Adams, the Health Ranger. We have a call from John in Wisconsin. You're still with us, John. Go ahead.
Hi, Mike. Thank you so much again for covering all of your food freedom issues. I just kind of, as an open-ended question, I actually had some specific ones for the good doctor and your other guest on fairness. But for you specifically, how do you feel? What would you gauge the interest to be in doing a Freedom Palooza or any other kind of a rock and roll mixed with a festival of speakers? If you and someone like Greg Palast and Rosa Carey and Naomi Wolf were at an event, I would travel across the country to go and see you. Would you be open to that?
Hey, I would travel to go see something like that too. The thing is, I'm not traveling by air because of the TSA. You know, you saw my TSA Help Wanted satire video. They got censored by YouTube, and yeah, I have no doubt those guys would try to put a little bag of fake cocaine in my luggage if they get a chance. So I'm not giving them the opportunity, and I don't think Alex is traveling by air right now either, is he? So a lot of us are really not able to get somewhere unless we can do it by road. But if it's somewhere near Texas that I could get to, I would love to do something like that, and I think it'd be really rocking a huge success. I've never met Naomi, and I haven't met Greg Pallas in person either. Those are two people that I really admire and would love to meet as well. So I think it's a great idea, man.
How about Skype on a big screen? I'm working with some fellows from We Are Change, Minnesota, and some of the Midas Resources guys in We Are Change, Wisconsin. Put you on a big screen, do it via Skype, and then you wouldn't have to travel.
Hey, I'm totally up for that. In fact, I do a lot of that already, and so I'm would be happy to promote an event like that as well as be part of it via Skype video. That would be great. It's also more secure because a lot of us guys and gals who are better known, in the Patriot movement, we got to be mindful of security, and so we don't necessarily like to surround ourselves with public that we can't be safe about. I mean, we love to meet people. We love to shake hands. We love to get out there like I did last week in Dallas, and Alex did just yesterday in Dallas and next week in Orlando. But we also got to be safe about it because there are plenty of bad guys who don't want us to continue speaking freely.
And not to get too far into detail, I know exactly what you're talking about. I have had some bad guys show up in the past and talking to their collars and all sorts of things at events that I've run or sponsored or been at, and so I know what you're talking about. And believe me, that sentiment is not lost on me. Thanks again, Mike Adams. I love Alex to death. I listen to him every day, and if I can't make it because of my business, I listen to the podcast. And I just want to say thanks for sitting in.
Well, thank you, John. I'm really happy to sit in. It's a great honor to be here, and I'm really glad that Alex invites me to be here. And I take this role seriously. I really do my homework and try to deliver a good show for you, packed with information. It's not just entertainment. It's really a very usable, practical information. I hope you agree. I work hard to bring guests in here. And I got to say, too, in defense of Alex Jones and everything that he does, from time to time, there are snipes and trolls out there who take shots at him. And usually that's people who have never put in the hours. They've never paid their dues. They've never done the hard work that it takes to be an effective voice for freedom and liberty, which Alex is. Alex has earned his place, and I respect that. And I think that most listeners also respect that. And, Alex has helped a lot of people succeed. He has given out names and books and websites, and a lot of people really honor that, but some of them don't, and some of them don't appreciate that, and I think they're wrong in that. Alex deserves credit. He is leading. He's the tip of the spear on the Patriot movement and freedom of information in America, and that's why I'm here volunteering to support InfoWars and support this whole team, and Alex really deserves our support. So I'm just happy to be part of it. Thank you for listening today. Thank you for all of your support. Check out more news at Infowars.com, and tonight, of course, InfoWars Nightly News is coming up. I'll see you again in a week. Take care.